I am here today with Emmy winner Mike Manning, who plays Caleb on the Bay. Part of this season is set in Puerto Rico. Did you have fun filming in Puerto Rico?
I loved filming in Puerto Rico. I had never been there before, and we filmed in Salinas in the south, and then we filmed in San Juan in the north. And it's crazy how different it is. In the south, it's very dry and arid, almost like a desert, and then in the north, it's very tropical, like a jungle. And I never knew Puerto Rico was so diverse like that with sort of the climate. And I also love Spanish. I lived in Mexico for a while, and so I love speaking Spanish, and I love practicing Spanish. And I was able to do that in Puerto Rico. Most people speak English down there, but they also speak Spanish, so I was able to do that as well. And it was fun. It's always fun to film somewhere new.
What did you do in Puerto Rico when you were not filming?
So we were staying in these little villas, the entire cast and the crew and everybody, for the first half of the shoot. And it was kind of in the middle of nowhere. And so we had time to, it was on a ranch. So we had time to explore. We did some hiking. They had horses there. So we got to, play with the horses, and there was like dogs and cats and chickens and a bunch of animals. So that was fun. And then for the second half of filming, when we were in season one, it was more urban, and there was a lot of buildings and hotels and restaurants and stuff. And so we would definitely go out and take advantage of the food. Really like Puerto Rican food. It's a lot of beans and like plantains, and especially the desserts are very savory and different. So I definitely ate a lot, and I didn't have many shirtless scenes, so it was good. I could eat what I wanted.
For people who haven't seen the Bay, what's your character in the Bay like in terms of personality?
So in the Bay, I play my character's name is Caleb McKinnon, and he is a teacher. Um, that's what he does for his job. Joined in season five, we see him as a childhood of Eric Nelson's character, um, Daniel Garrett, who the Garretts are the main family in the Bay. They're like a wealthy power family, and so my character was a friend of his, and he moves to Bay City for a teaching job. And then we quickly discover that there is more there than just friendship. There's romance. And then in season six, you see our characters fall in love and get married. And then in season seven, at the end of season six, our wedding is broken up by guys that bust in with masks and guns. And then in season seven, my character travels to Puerto Rico, and my character is not a very adventurous person, so he's sort of out of his element. But he's traveling to Puerto Rico because his spouse has been kidnapped, and he's trying to get him back.
If you personally could pick a location for season 8 without any budget restraints, where would the season be filmed?
Ooh, great question. Um, I would say I would film in Scotland. I was just in Edinburgh over years, and it is one of my favorite places in the world. I felt like I was living in a Harry Potter movie. There were castles and there were statues, and everything was so old and had such a history to it that yeah, I would definitely film anything there, anytime, whatever the project.
In your opinion, what would viewers enjoy about the Bay?
I think that the viewers, especially this season in season seven, viewers are going to enjoy the adventure aspect because it's a drama, right? And a lot of it centers around Bay City. And in seasons one through six, audiences have gotten to know these characters, in Bay City, and with their relationships and their, who they sort of interact with. And then in season 7, all of those characters are thrown into Puerto Rico on an adventure to try to get their loved ones back because they've all been kidnapped. And so I think audiences will enjoy the adrenaline rush, the adventure, the sort of searching the jungle for the bad guy, and brand new bad guy in season 7. And so I think audiences will enjoy that. They're seeing the same characters they love, but those characters are sort of thrown into an action movie, and it's fun.
How did you get involved in producing the show, and what do you most enjoy about being a producer on the Bay?
I get to yell at people. No, I'm just kidding. No, I think I got involved as a producer in season 5, and it was just helping with casting, or basically the running joke in Hollywood is that nobody knows what a producer does, but a producer does everything. So I basically came on board and helped wherever I could in season 5, and then in season 6 I was not a producer; I was just an actor. And it was nice because in season 5 the show won Best Digital Daytime Drama. So as a producer, that was the first time I won an Emmy. And then in season 6, when I was just an actor, I won the Emmy for Best Supporting Actor. So now I have an Emmy for acting and producing. So that's pretty cool. And then and now in season 7, I am a producer again. Yeah, that's how it is. And again, it's just me helping wherever I can. In terms of getting the show in front of eyeballs, bringing assets to the show, just trying to take it to the next level. I feel like every single season gets better and better, and so I'm just doing what I can to help that happen.
Is acting on a show and also producing it a heavy workload, and if so, how do you cope with that?
I think it is, but I think because the show has been on for now 7 seasons, I feel like there's a really good, uh, like the cast members have worked together for years, the crew have worked together for years, and everybody sort of knows how the machine is working. It's a well-oiled machine, so it's easier because of that. I like to separate the two. So on days where I show up and I'm a producer, I will show up in my sweatpants with my hat on, and I am all just business and let's get things done. If I show up as an actor, of course, I go through hair and makeup and I have to look good and I have to be well rested, and I try to remain as calm as possible. So it's almost like using the exact opposite side of my brain to try to remain creative and calm and in the moment. And I definitely try not to do both of those at the same time. I definitely try to space them out so that if I'm an actor, I'm acting that day. If I'm a producer, I'm producing that day.
Do you enjoy playing a character who is in a same-sex relationship?
I think I do very much. I think visibility and representation are extremely important when it comes to film and television. I feel like every audience member deserves to see themselves in characters when they watch film and television. And so I do think it is important to have the LGBT community represented on the show and in TV in general. And so for me to be a part of that is special. And I said this in my Emmy speech too. I said that if one kid is sitting at home watching The Bay, and it's particularly the love story between my character and Eric Nelson's character, Daniel, from the start of the season in season 6 to their wedding, and it's a same-sex wedding. If a young person is watching that and that helps them to realize that they are worthy and capable of that same kind of love, and falling in love and having a wedding and everything else that goes along with it, then to me that is very important, very special, and that made the entire season worth it. So the short answer is yes, it is very special and very important.
Do you have a favorite scene or storyline on the Bay?
Ooh, good question. I think this season is my favorite storyline because, like I said, my character in season five, he moves to town to be a teacher. In season six, he is basically, we see him being a teacher, but also in season six, they're dealing with COVID. So it was very much like what was happening in the world. And you see him as sort of a timid, unsure person. And then in season seven, that same character, my character, is now going on this adventure to a place he's never been to. He's sort of scared and freaked out and really wanting to find his husband. And it's really fun to play that character because it's a different side of a character that I fell in love with playing in seasons five and six.
What do you most like about acting on the Bay?
Hmm. I think because the show has been on for so long, everybody knows each other so well, and it doesn't feel like you're going to work. It feels like you're just hanging out with family, and there just happens to be cameras there, and you happen to be working. So there's very much a camaraderie with everybody on the show and everybody involved in the cast and the crew. And I like to be a part of that. It's relaxed enough where you can try new things and you can joke around, but it's professional enough where at the end of the day you're really proud of the work that you do. And I feel like to me that's a nice combination.
Why do you think that the Bay and its actors win so many awards?
I think that the Bay wins so many awards because uh, in the digital drama space, it really excels in terms of storyline and acting and quality. I think a lot of shows, there was sort of a renaissance, I think, maybe we'll say 8 years ago, with a lot of web series starting to come out. And some were good and some were not so good. And the Bay, every year, it gets better and better and better. And I think that voters in the TV Academy and Emmy voters, they see that and they respect that. And if season seven is any example, shooting in Puerto Rico and taking the cast and having a completely new storyline, they didn't have to do that. And a lot of shows don't do that. I think that Gregory, the creator of the show, Gregory J. Martin, and Wendy Rich, the writers, they make it a point to uh, push themselves and push the show and make it better and better every season. And yeah, you have to. I think people that are voting for the Emmys and the Indie Series Awards and everything else, I think they see that and they see the quality and they respect the work that goes into that.
I was watching the Bay and saw your character cry. As an actor, how do you cry?
Well, I just think of something sad. No, I think every situation is different in terms of needing to cry. And I never go into it saying, oh, I have to cry in this moment. I try to make it as realistic as possible. And to be honest, sometimes the tears come, sometimes they don't come. Um, and so I always just try to, I try to not put pressure on myself to cry, but I always just try to live in the moment and really be present and really feeling those emotions. And most of the time, it just happens and the tears just come. And it happens if I'm being authentic and if I'm really focused and present.
What have been the most challenging scenes to film on the show?
I would say in season seven, there is a scene where we are in Puerto Rico and I am frantically, I'm yelling at Pete Garrett, who is Kristos, you know, Najee's character. It's basically Kristos Andrews, the lead of the show, Najee, and myself go to Puerto Rico, our characters, and we meet up with Puerto Rican law enforcement and others to try to find the people that we care about. And so there's a scene where I'm freaking out and I'm yelling at the cops and I'm yelling at Kristos and I'm yelling at everybody else. And then he gets a text and it shows Daniel, Eric Nelson, my husband on the show, being tortured. And that was a really hard scene to be a part of because you're essentially imagining somebody that you love being tortured to the point of death and not being able to help them. And that was a really hard scene to film. And yeah, I definitely cried on that one. And then there was another scene in the shower where I'm about to take a shower and I call Daniel's phone. My character Caleb calls Daniel's phone and leaves him a voicemail just so that he can feel like he's talking to him or connecting to him in some small way. And at this point, he truly doesn't know if his husband is dead. So he leaves him a voicemail and then he breaks down and he starts crying. And then he sits in the shower and he's basically just crying, letting the water wash over him. And in that scene, you know, I almost felt like a baby. I felt like a baby that didn't know what to do, and I was completely helpless. And you know, and I felt so vulnerable. And I was naked, both, but like physically and mentally as well. And that was a really tough scene, but I'm really happy with the way it turned out.
Has winning an Emmy affected your career, and if so, how?
Winning an Emmy has helped me personally because I think it added to my confidence, and I think it's really nice in the entertainment industry. It's not like other industries where you get a promotion if you know have this marketing job or a business job, or you get that account, or you're a lawyer and you win a case. There aren't these sort of linear benchmarks that you hit and you're promoted, you're promoted, you're promoted. And so winning something like an Emmy to me is the industry's way of saying, hey, you're doing a good job. We like the work that you're putting out. We respect the work. We pick you among your peers to win this golden statue to say, good job, keep it up. And so for me personally, it felt really nice to win an Emmy and to be reminded that I'm doing a good job. And it gave me confidence to keep doing it. And it's also just fun to talk about. My parents were thrilled. My brother, my sister was thrilled. And, you know, I have my Emmys sitting by my front door, and I get to see them every day. And it's a reminder how far I've come. I've been in LA now for almost 12 years. And in the beginning, especially, it was not easy. And sometimes I'm very hard on myself. And so when I, you know, walk past the Emmys and I see the Emmys, I'm like, you know what? Stop being so hard on yourself. You're doing pretty good so far.
What's the best places for people to follow you and watch The Bay?
So the Bay, all up until season 7 is on Tubi right now. It's also on Peacock, Amazon Prime, and Popstar TV. But everything's on Tubi. So I would say they can go there and just search for The Bay. And then if they want to find me, my Instagram and Twitter and everything is Mike_Manning. And then my website is mikemanning.info.